Race, it's what defines and separates us, but when does talking about it become racist? Politically and emotionally charged, so many aspects of our waking and political lives revolve around this tricky issue. Drug policy, immigration, campaigning, casual mentions. Anytime we differentiate based on different skin color, we land in hot water. But it's a tool often overused to pigeonhole and stereotype people and entire groups, and it's almost impossible to unpaint yourself once you've landed in the racist corner. The Dream Act comedy, the Tea Party, Obamacare, is it racist? That's the question we'll ask tonight. This is The Independent. Hey there, I'm Kennedy with Reason Magazine Editor-in-Chief Matt Welch and Camille Foster from Free Think Media. There's Camille. Together we are The Independents. We're free thinkers who don't belong to any political party, man. Joining the party panel tonight, it's Backlash author Deneen Borelli and Independence veteran Rich Benjamin from Demos, a think tank where people sit in a tank and think. His book is called Searching for Whitopia. We all have our reasons for wanting to discuss race on the show. Comes up a lot when we're planning our topics for The Independents. We ask ourselves often, is this racist? And many times we direct those questions to Camille because he's got some very strong, surprising opinions on race. So Camille, I will start with you. In your opinion, what is racism?
Well, I think we have to start with what is race. There is a broad scientific consensus at this point. Race is not a genetic concept. It is a social construct. There is no genetic or biological bright line that separates us. We all have common ancestry. When Craig Venter, the famed geneticist, talks about race, he typically talks about our perception of race as this visual acuity that we all sort of have when we look at one another and regard one another and quickly categorize one another. It's been no end of problems when we look at politics, certainly in the context of the United States and around the world, but it's a fairly young concept, several hundred years. Now, when we talk about what is racism, it's I guess I would define it as beliefs or actions that are, in fact, constructed in such a way that they suggest that one racial group is superior to another racial group. But I think intention matters a great deal as well. And that seems to be the one thing that we've lost. Nowadays, we confuse racism with pretty much any sort of insensitivity, anything that we don't like, and broadly with something else, which I don't think we properly understand, which is racialist. Yeah. Being a racialist or racialism, which is just the general concept of race.
Well, good thing the show isn't called Racialist.
Yes.
Is it racialist? Because I get confused.
No.
So, Matt, why do you want to do a show that asks the question, is it racist?
I think the primary interest for me is the concept of minority rights. Minority meaning literally a small group of people, however defined. In terms of government policy and also sort of societal mores, anytime you have a solid majority of people, they tend to try to impose their will onto the minority. They'll do it, and again, any kind of minority could be a political minority, and they will use the law and bend things in that direction. So I'm interested in the protection of minorities in that way. And race, I think, given the history of this country, of slavery, of the worst institutions in our government in history, I think have involved slavery. So when we look at race, it is sort of a canary in the coal mine. If something is happening disproportionately, wildly disproportionately to African Americans, I think it's a sign or a potential sign of us saying, okay, maybe we still have some legacy institutions. This is a way to somehow have really bad policy here that's being sort of submerged into our lives.
Well, it's also a way of, if you disagree with the first African American president, you're called a racist, which I think is wrong. I mean, and Rich, I will ask you this. Have we moved past race by electing the first black president? And is the term Obamacare racist?
That was a wonderful thing that we elected the first black president, but it doesn't mean we've moved past race. And you can totally disagree with President Obama and not be a racist. But the problem is you have racially coded words that Republican pollsters test in order to smear the president.
Example.
Obamacare, illegal alien, food stamp president. Pick your choice. Okay. There are tons of them.
All right, well,
and we know that these are racially coded words meant to link the problem with aliens.
I don't know who he is. And unfortunately, this is the hallmark of the Tawana Brawley era of civil rights. We don't have actual instances of racism, so we find anything that seems incivil or that we dislike, and we brand it racist, and we call people nasty names.
These are racial.
You're going to have to do better than that.
Code words because you're saying they're racial.
No, they're racial code words because Republicans Republican
you had your
pollsters
time
do.
to speak. Allow me to talk. You have people who disagree with President Obama and his failed policies. Has absolutely nothing to do about his skin color. If that was a fact, he would not have been elected once and twice as president of the United States.
Why doesn't Newt Gingrich?
So to say that his code word is utterly ridiculous.
Why doesn't Newt Gingrich go to South Carolina and call him the Medicaid
you call
president?
him and find out. But
why does the White House website use the term Obamacare? Why did Democrats use the term Obamacare? Why does Anthony Weiner take credit for inventing the term Obamacare?
But this is not my opinion.
I think Melissa Harris Perry is at retreat. Let's take a look at Melissa Harris Perry talking specifically about the word Obamacare, because she's crazy.
I want to talk today about a controversial word. It's a word that has been with us for years. And like it or not, it's indelibly printed in the pages of American history. A word that was originally intended as a derogatory term, meant to shame and divide and demean. The word was conceived of by a group of wealthy white men who needed a way to put themselves above and apart from a black man, to render him inferior and unequal, and to diminish his accomplishments. Y'all know the word that I'm talking about. Obamacare.
Obamacare! Oh my God! Go to the White House website.
You're not allowed to say Obamacare.
No, you're not, because it makes you racist. I think it's so silly because it really takes away from what actual racism is. It truly does. It's like it diminishes when you call everyone a racist for using a term for failed policy.
It's not calling people racist. People can be kind human beings without a bad thing in their heart. The point is, and this is not my opinion, this is a fact, Republican pollsters have tested certain words. Obamacare sounds like Obama scare. Food stamp president isn't a Medicaid president, it's a food stamp president, because you associate food stamps with minorities.
Here's what the left likes to do.
That's not illegal aliens. Illegal aliens.
No. I'm going to let Deneen talk right now because she wants a chance to speak.
Anytime their big government policies don't work, race is injected into the argument, and that it's an emotional issue, and it's a way to stifle people's opinion to get out the point that they want to make. Obamacare is a failure. Families are losing their insurance. I know of individuals who are losing their insurance, and this is happening on a daily basis. The rates are not lower. The premiums are not lower. Americans are being harmed. So to play the race card, I find it to be very irresponsible and dangerous. It's a horrible tactic to use, and it's just a poor way of trying to relay their message and to attack those who disagree with President Obama.
Okay, Rich, I know you're excited and your passions have been stoked, and I appreciate that, but you're going to have to come back. And we're going to see you in a later panel in just a little bit. We will keep talking and ask the question whether or not it's racist. Lou Mother-Lovin' Dobbs is going to be here. He's going to break down immigration the way only he can. Is our immigration policy racist? But next, we're going to be joined by Sherrod Small and Jim Norton, two funny fellas who will share insight and tears when comedy crosses the racial line.